Well, what a wild episode of Survivor. There's some things I love about it, there's some things I hate about it. There's a decision a player got to make tonight that you can wonder if he did it right or he did it wrong. We'll get into that, everything and more here on Island Analysis. And yeah, we officially have our jury. Yes, tonight was one of those episodes that you just wonder, why are we messing with the format? And you get an ending in a dramatic moment that makes you wonder and think, hey, maybe they did something right. You know, the premise of this episode is normally where we get a split tribal and both tribes go to tribal council. And we lose two people in one night. And the twist this year is it's not going to be that. It's going to be kind of like the old Mergatory type vote where, you know, only the losing group of six goes to tribal council and loses. The other one gets to have a reward and gets to be safe. They get to watch the tribal council. Kind of akin to like old era Survivor when this happened a little bit during the merge or right before the merge, and it just brings me back to this new era. Sometimes trying too hard to make things work a certain way, and if it wasn't for production putting in their own kind of workaround to try to make things more dramatic with this format, we'll get to later about Soul's advantage. You had a very straightforward, easy vote because whoever lost the rock draw was going home. And it definitely felt like they were setting up that if the side that was, you know, Teeny, Soul, Genevieve, Andy, Sierra, and Sam, if their side to go to tribal council, it could have likely been Sam going home. But their side wins it, and they go on the reward. So what do we get? We get 5 people of an original tribe, you know, with Sue, Tiana, Gabe, Kyle, and Caroline, and 1 solo member from Gato with Rachel. And it's very clear that without Soul finding basically an advantage that he's allowed to send to one person, they're hoping it's the person that's most in trouble, which tonight it was Rachel, that it saves that person from the vote and it creates a very dramatic live moment for tribal council. And you got that this episode. But you only got that because the whole twist at the beginning just isn't a good twist. And it's just not a great part of the game. I think this game would have been so much more fun going into this tribal council if it was all of them up there and either Teeny or Genevieve winning the final immunity challenge here, and you had everybody voting, and you had Andy maybe trying to throw Gata under the bus. You had maybe Tiana and Gabe throwing haymakers at each other. You have Caroline trying to work everything in. It's a much more, I think, engaging type vote. It's a much more engaging show presence than just splitting them up and having the advantage save you. Because what happens if Soul doesn't give the advantage to Rachel? Well, she pretty much is going to probably play her shot in the dark and hope it hits. Because if it doesn't, she very clearly was going home tonight. That's very obvious that the moment she left with safety without power, everybody of the remaining 5 were like, oh, shoot, the consensus vote just went out the door. It's like, I don't know. You tell me your thoughts in the comments. Did you like all this twist making? Yes, we had a great, I feel, tribal council moment, but why can't we just play normal Survivor? You've had a show that worked for so many years. Stick to the plain format that people have probably grown to enjoy and stop messing around like this. That's me going aside. Now let's debate things about this episode. So Soul in the reward challenge was able to sneak this advantage that he gets to give one person of the losing tribe, and they'll get an option of safety without power or block a vote. Now I said on Twitter, and I'm still going to say here, I think Soul's best play is actually to make sure Gabe stays safe the most. Obviously, Tiana leaving, Gabe is still safe, but I think Kyle and Gabe, and even that whole entire blue tribe, them being a 5, gives very clear good shielding for Soul in the beginning part of this merge. I think Soul has done a great job. Rome threw out his name. Nobody put out his vote. Nobody really thinking of putting Soul's vote down this week. He's done a very good job socially finding his way in. I think he did the right thing with kind of throwing Sam under the bus with Andy a little bit, creating cracks there. He's definitely very socially aware. He didn't tell anybody about this advantage. But I do think with Tiana going home, it's like a half win, half lose. The half win is, guess what? Gabe is still in the game. Kyle's still in the game. You still have some shields. This downside is now this blue tribe, they don't feel as easy threatening. They aren't 5 strong. So they aren't going to be an easy, pagonging like you expect. Now you have, four Gatas, you have 3 Lavos, and you have 4 of that tribe. I forget what the blue tribe's name is because they're just my least favorite tribe this season. And now it's a much more even playing field. And I think Soul's a great player, and I think he can still do well with this. He's still up high up. I'm on the Soul train for life. I love Soul in this game. He's my favorite player to watch. I want him to win. But I'm worried now that he took a game which I think benefits him more if it's straightforward us versus them, and turned it more into a mushy game, which I still think he has the social ability to work himself through. But I do think he could very easily become a target as more people look around and they start thinking, man, do I want to work with Soul, or is Soul somebody that I don't want to work with? That's my worry for Soul, and why I think he made the mistake of letting Rachel slip through the cracks. I don't know if he'll tell Rachel because that outs that he had this advantage. I think part of him wants this to be secret and be saved for maybe Final Tribal, akin to Mary Ann in Season 42. But nonetheless, Rachel is safe. Tiana goes home, and we can agree to disagree about this advantage play from Soul. What is very clear, though, is there's cracks happening, and Genevieve and Andy are seemingly working together. Genevieve, I was worried if this was a double tribal situation that she could be at risk, but she's clearly building this relationship with Andy. But they definitely hinted that Andy was looking paranoid, and Genevieve was kind of thinking like, can I really trust working with Andy? Andy being proactive is going to be his downfall here in the future, in my opinion. And I don't think this flip is going to work all too much. And then you had, I feel, Caroline kind of taking control of this vote and being the one who decides who goes home, Gabe or Tiana. And at first, Caroline wasn't featured that much this episode, but as the episode went on, as their tribe or their team had to go to tribal council and they were on the Lavo Beach, it became very clear to me that Caroline is our absolute favorite to be a winner. I feel like all the questions about what it takes to win and how this is affecting your game are going straight to Caroline, at least what we see, and the answers are coming straight from Caroline. She has a very good control of the game in terms of, I think she has good relationship with Kyle now. I think obviously her, Gabe, and Sue are kind of a trio. If you look at those 4, I think Caroline is the person that escapes through the cracks and can work better with people like, say, Teeny and Genevieve down the line. Maybe can work better with Sierra down the line. I think right now, if I was going to put money, like $20 on any one of the 12 members of the jury, Caroline would be my pick by far. I don't think there's anybody close. I don't even think there's worth anybody discussing anybody else right now on who's going to win. I know there's a lot of Genevieve truthers, and I'm glad you're out there, and I really do think that maybe there's a chance if her edit picks up, but I don't see it. I see her being kind of an early kind of boot for this merged tribe situation, and maybe at best, maybe she gets kind of the Lindsay edit where she goes out around 5, quiet, important, definitely a fun player to the end, but we're not seeing really too, obviously her and Andy work together is some perspective, but we didn't get much perspective of her about the Rome vote. We aren't getting too much perspective about the game as a whole from her, whereas with Caroline, she's very much, I feel, the story that we're trying to tell and who's going to be winning this game. Finally, though, who are my at-risk players next week? It's Gabe and Kyle. Tiana's now gone. Blue's hurt a bit. Kyle's won two individual immunities, and Gabe is very loud and not very good at the game. I think those two are my easy pickoff next week's, and maybe there's a world where Sam could be an easy pickoff, but that's going to be it for this episode of Island Analysis. Thank you for coming back to my channel here as we do move from Josh Does Movies to just my name, Josh Kahn, but it's the same content. Survivor here every week, Wednesday night or Thursday morning, as we move closer to finale night.